Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. I got an interesting article here talking about luxury, LVMH, Louis Vuitton, and the so-called insipid terminology of the aspirational luxury client. Oh, that adjective, aspirational. It is basically what brands use as a word instead of saying poor. Okay, it's the poverty, but aspirational, but make it sound a little bit less iffy, because luxury doesn't want to meddle, diddle the skittle, fiddle the middle, tickle the pickle when it comes to certain adjectives. Well, there's an article here from SCMP entitled How LVMH Plans to Retract Aspirational Luxury Shoppers. Reattract, not retract. Let me reread this. How LVMH plans to reattract aspirational luxury shoppers. The US consumer is thinking twice about spending amid high inflation, but don't expect discounts from the fashion giant behind Louis Vuitton and Dior. Now, this article is very interesting because it also quotes partially what the CFO of LVMH, Jean-Jacques Guillaume, said. And while most retailers would drop their prices to encourage customers to spend more cash, LVMH will continue to focus on increasing the desirability of the brands. Now, they say, and this is really interesting because they say that the aspirational client is the key and the future to survival and major revenues for luxury brands, including LVMH. This is so interesting because we've seen several luxury YouTubers, or that claim that they're luxury YouTubers, making videos talking about, no, these major brands, they don't care about the little spender. They don't care about if you cannot afford the big ticket items, they don't care about you. That's not where they earn their money. They earn their money from the rich. And I've been saying this for years. You're wrong. Stop spreading misinformation. And you have it now here, even the CFO of LVMH is quoted to saying, we want the aspirational client. That's where most of our money's at. So let's kind of gather together and figure this one out together. First, subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already, push the join button next to the subscription button. Become a member today. Get access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, superdacob all spelled together there as well for extra perks. Thank you to my members and patrons who already pledged. This video is being filmed live in front of a live virtual audience. I live stream several times a week. You're all welcome to join the live chats. Welcome to all my co-chatters on the sidebar here. Listen. The aspirational shopper is the key to revenue, according to this article. By the way, everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's alleged, just my opinion. The aspirational shopper is the key to revenue, not high net worth individuals. Worth repeating. The aspirational shopper is the key to revenue, not high net worth individuals. But even as Gen Z takes over, going too mainstream can backfire, as Coach and Michael Kors learned. Well, Michael Kors in particular. But very, 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 very interesting. But here we reach a predicament. So LVMH acknowledges this and in interviews allegedly states it. The company says, we are focusing on aspirational clients. That entry-level type of client that cannot afford the big stuff, that's where our money's at. Sales are dropping in the States. This is an issue. America doesn't want to buy as much anymore. The economy is not the best at the moment. People are refraining from spending a lot of money on stuff. Now, The article explains, well, what does a regular brand do when something like this happens? Well, they go on sale. They reduce their prices. Some seasonal pieces, maybe they're going to reduce the price for those. They might not reduce prices on the heritage classics like the Keepall, the Speedy, the Noe, all those, the trunks. But seasonal clothing, seasonal shoe designs, they might go on sale. Not with LVMH. LVMH says no. We're not going to go on sale. One. Two, we're not going to go on sale because going on sale damages the image of the company and the desirability, the exclusivity. It will kill off the aspirational desire of aspirational clients if they see that stuff goes on sale anyway. What do they got to aspire to? But the aspirational client isn't spending the money anymore. And the psychology that LVMH is implying here. So they're basically saying, we have to invest more into promoting our products to the aspirational client. We're not going to reduce our prices. It's still going to be really expensive for you to buy. We will keep raising our prices with price increases several times a year sometimes. But we will keep investing more money than we did before in special promotional advertisement campaigns, fashion shows, and so on. The example that they used was the Pharrell Williams introduction as artistic director of Louis Vuitton Men, the fashion show on the bridge in Paris. They said they spent a humongous, ginormous amount of money for that show. That's how they are pushing, investing into storytelling to make the aspirational client desire the brand even more, so that the aspiration, and I find this really vulgar, to say the least. So basically, they're not going to try to come towards you, like let's meet halfway, by reducing a price or by introducing products that are cheaper from the get-go without upping the prices all the time. No, they're not trying to meet you halfway. Instead, they're trying to brainwash you even more into desiring their products. So rather than introducing cheaper items, more affordable, cheap is a bad word in this case, obviously, cancelable offense. Rather than introducing more affordable products, no, they're going to keep having their super expensive products. They're going to keep going up in price, but they're going to keep investing extra money in promoting those products so that you're more brainwashed into desiring them. So they have that money. Sales are going down in certain countries, allegedly, at the moment. So how do they counter that? By spending even more money into advertising to you, the person that decided to spend less money on their products. This is how they counter that. Interesting also that the article states that LVMH, being LVMH, they own a ton of brands, including alcohol. Interesting how they say, well, the good thing for them is if they are selling less in one sector, the sector that is selling still well can compensate for the lack of sales in the other sector. So they used the example of brandy. They said if LVMH brandy is very expensive at the moment and it's not selling as much as it used to, they're like, it doesn't matter because the champagne, also LVMH champagne, is doing really well. So the sales of the champagne compensate for the lack of sales of the brandy. Just kind of like a simple example. So what they're also saying is, well, if at the moment LVMH is not really doing very well in terms of Louis Vuitton sales in America for their bags, well, they're maybe still doing really well with their Dior sales. Dior also belongs to LVMH, and it kind of all evens out. So what they're trying to say is LVMH has a lot of puffer. It has a lot of that buffer area where they can kind of use these different incomes from one sector and loss in another sector, and they can kind of even them out, while other brands that are maybe just unique to one particular label, what are they going to do? They're either doing well with that one label, and if they're not, they have nothing else to compensate. So they're saying they're going to invest even more money in promoting to the aspirational client. They say that they're pushing forth the notion of wanting to indoctrinate more the youngest generation of future consumers of luxury by, hiring somebody like Pharrell Williams. Pharrell, who, correct me if I'm wrong, if we're talking about youth culture, he's already kind of old. So technically, is he the voice of the young generation? Do kids today look up to him to want to buy a brand? I'm not so sure about that. I don't know if LVMH pulled the right card with him, but they're planning on making it look more modern, youthful, young, approachable, desirable, hip, trendy, lit, cool, whatever you want to call it, whichever adjective you want to use for the upcoming generation of youth. And so they're saying we're investing a ton of money instead of reducing prices. No, we're going to invest even more and brainwash you even more that you need these pieces. That's kind of the future of luxury at the moment. Luxury brands do not seem to be ready to budge an inch in the direction of the consumer that is in trouble at the moment, because the money isn't there. It's just not flowing. So people are not spending as much as they used to. But the luxury industry is like, yeah, but I'm not going to reduce my prices for you. No, sorry, boo-boo. No, but you're still going to want to buy my stuff, right? So you're still going to find a way. Just find a way. Go more into debt. Do what you got to do. I'm going to do what I can do. That extra money that I have laying around, I'm going to invest it into making even more propaganda, advertisements, commercials. Very, 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 very tricky. And yes, Melissa in the chat is saying, but quality be damned, no spending happening there. That's the thing. It's like they're spending their entire budgets for the year in promoting, creating bigger shows, bigger advertisements, filling magazines even more with it, filling the internet with ads. But then they're like, but let's cut costs with quality control. I've been talking to an ex-employee of Louis Vuitton, allegedly, who told me, allegedly, that quite a while ago, they deleted basically their quality control department, allegedly, to save money. And also because the production is so fast. It's like you don't even have the time anymore. There's so many collections coming up every year, several times a year. Another issue is that because so many new designs are coming out and so fast, the artisans and the people making these bags, they don't really get the time and the chance to learn the intricacies of this new design. But they also don't really get a time and a chance to test them out, to figure out, well, maybe this bag should be designed slightly differently because the functionality of it is not really fine-tuned perfectly. So using the bag as is now might be detrimental to the quality of the bag in the future, because using it the way it's designed now has a flaw, meaning the bag might tear or rip because the shape of it is just not really ergonomic enough for, everyday use. These are little things that you have to go through when you're designing a brand new product. Now, if a brand doesn't give you the time to test the product, to perfect it, to shape it right, what are you going to do? You're going to go into production because you got like 10 collections a year that you got to produce, and you're just going to produce it and hope for the best. and hope for the best. And then your artisans who are making the bag, you're not really giving them the time to learn to make a new bag, a new shape. They're also going to do whatever they can. This is what's happening, you guys. So, but aspirational clients, that's where the money's at. Everybody wants a Louis Vuitton wallet, you know? Everybody can get a little key pouch, you know? And that brings in the money. It brings in the money. So you're not going to have a lot of people being able to afford a Capucine bag from Louis. You're not going to have a lot of people who can afford a trunk from Louis. You know, Louis is also pushing the jewelry concept. They have high-end jewelry. They have $1 million worth of jewelry that you can buy there. Of course, those are high-end ticket prices, product prices that you just like, okay, whatever. That's like for those people that want the diamond encrusted Birkins. You know, it's just, how tacky can you get? It almost feels like these brands are coming to a point where they're like, okay, we just have to create something that's expensive. It doesn't have to look good, because the people really have a lot of money to, and we're talking a lot of money, billionaires. They don't really care if something looks good or not. It's important that it's expensive, because the new billionaires of today, well, you know what I mean? Is style in their bloodstream? No, honey. You can buy everything, but you can't buy style. You can't. Now, so if they, you know, and I've been watching these really interesting theories also on TikTok, people talking about like, well, a billionaire can never have earned the money ethically, to say that without saying illegally, and all that stuff. You know, there's like all of these theories about how wages are earned, salaries per hour, how many thousands of years it would take a normal person to become a billionaire, and like how is it possible for another person? Like the sustainability of it is just insane. And I get the theory behind it, but then like you have a billionaire who's I just want to spend money. And then, you know, Pharrell designs that Millionaires Club key paul or Speedy, an alligator or crocodile skin encrusted with diamonds that costs $1 million. That thing is ugly to the point of like, it's like, let's make fun of the billionaires who can afford this. You know what I mean? It's almost like saying like, here, let me see how far I can push the ugliness. And how long will you keep falling for it? And you will keep falling for it because you're a nouveau riche that doesn't understand what quality or class is, you know? And so you're just going to keep spending because you're going to want to keep proving that you can. And so for a brand is also constantly producing stuff for you to keep buying, for you to keep proving that you can. And so for them, at a certain point, it's like, okay, well, how do we make a bag cost $1 million? Just add some tacky diamonds and call it a day, you know? And we can also debate, well, are diamonds really worth it? No, they're not. We can talk about the history of diamonds, the De Beers family, how they turned diamonds into something covetable, even though they're not, yada, yada, yada. We can talk about all of that. I'm very well aware of all of that. So it's up to you, whether you're an aspirational customer, or whether you're a nouveau riche millionaire/billionaire. It's up to you. The power is always in our hands. We're the consumer. We're the ones that decide, are we going to give the cash or we're not going to give the cash? Now, the funny thing is, we're in a position now, right now, in this world we live in, where the brands seem to have more power than the consumer. The luxury brands, right? The ones that are the top tier luxury brands, they seem to have the power in their hands. You know, they play the games. You know, you go to Rolex. You can't just buy the Rolex you want. You have to first, you know, purchase all the other stuff, get in the good grace of the store managers, client advisors, what have you. And then you got to spend all those hundreds of thousands of dollars until they finally grant you permission to buy the Rolex that you really want. You know, Lamborghini, cars, same thing. Ferrari, same thing. Hermes, also quite difficult with certain bags. It's a game. It's a power game. It's kind of like tug, pull, let go, pull, tweak. And it's like, how far can the brands push it? And they've noticed, I have a feeling, they've noticed that there's a lot of very, very shady businesses going on out there. And people are earning money in very shady ways very quickly. And there's a lot of them. And so the brands are like, it's just my opinion, they're like, oh, well, these look like tools we can tweak to the tune of our music, because all they're going to want to do is prove that they can. So let's just, forget about quality control. We don't need that. Make it just stuff it full with diamonds to the brim, as ugly as it can be. Let's see if the suckers buy it. And the suckers always do. There's always a sucker ready to spend $1 million for the ugliest bag in the world. Let me know your thoughts about this topic, whether you are aspirational or a billionaire. Doesn't matter. To me, you know the difference between aspirational and billionaire? Just a couple of zeros. Just a couple of zeros. I might have only $10 in my pocket. That's 1 zero. You might have $1 million in your pocket. That's 6 zeros. My 1 zero and your 6 zeros, you know what they equal? 0. 0 is nothing. It doesn't exist. So it all boils down to the same. You got that 1 and I have the 1. And you got 6 zeros and I got 1 zero. Doesn't mean anything. It's just numbers. And 0 is 0. It's nothing. Absolutely nothing. However, style, yeah. Now that's something. Doesn't work with zeros. You can add as many zeros as you want after that S for style. It's not going to change a thing. If you don't got the S, honey bunny, all the zeros in the world are not going to help you out. So, leave your thoughts down below. Thoughts and prayers down below, and let me know. Thumb up the video and subscribe. Love you loads, and until next time, never give up on love. Bye.